Hello, welcome back to another fantasy on my channel. I'm Jacob from Jacob's Here, or Jacob's Books Corner, and if I'm a little out of it, it's because this is like my 18th time filming this video because I don't like any of them. So now we're here. Basically, I just wanted to sit down, and I did a video a while ago, linked down below, called How I Rate Books. So I basically go through my classification of ratings as I rate books weirdly, and I figured you needed to know. So if you have any questions on how to rate books, that's normally where I send you over to. So this is the one where is how I read so many books in a month. I'm not saying I'm reading like 40 books a month. I don't actually know many people who do, but I'm sure there's the outliers out. I'm talking about 15 or 16 books a month, I would say is a lot more. Or how I can complete a challenge as reading 31 books a month. I have a few tips or tricks for that, and that I always stick to, that always make me feel better and always make me read more. So let's jump into this. I do want to mention, firstly, I think everything counts. You know, I went on a few different tangents, and I think I've already said this clearly, so we're just going to jump to another Jacob. Every book counts. Every reading counts. If you're reading fan fiction online and there is no physical copy of that book, well, guess what? You read it. And you don't have to have Goodreads or something to say you tracked it. You can even say in a monthly wrap-up, if that's what you like to do, that you read it. Fan fiction is a source of material that you read. It's a book. It's something that you consumed that someone wrote. That's a book. Comic books are also a novel. Poetry is a novel. Books under 200 pages are novels. Page number does not matter. And I don't know if that's just a me personal thing, or that I met so many people who believe like children's books don't count. Everything counts. Some people read 400 to 500 books a year because all they do is read picture books. And guess what? That's cool. You do you, sweetie. I don't really care. I'm happy for you. That's a huge number. Good for you. Feel proud of yourself. Don't feel bad because someone else is like dissing on your number because they don't believe what you did was real. Audiobooks are real. Oh my god. I hate that saying. I hate when people are like, audiobooks are real. You're not really reading it. Yes, I am. I consumed it. I can tell you a synopsis if you want. I think that's the most important thing. That's the first thing to remember. And we're going to hope he said it right. So, moving on. A few things that help me read more is audiobooks. Audiobooks in general help me a tremendous amount. I listen to audiobooks when I'm building in The Sims, or when I'm doing a puzzle, when I'm coloring, when I'm walking, when I work out, when I'm at work. I listen to audiobooks more than I listen to basically about anything else. And I love audiobooks and I adore them, and normally a very big way I consume media. Sometimes I choose to listen to a whole series based only on their audiobooks. Sometimes I only read, like for instance, I can only read thrillers based on audiobooks. I don't ever normally consume a thriller on just simply sitting down reading. Other things I only read as audiobook forms are normally nonfiction and or classics. And I listen to audiobooks on 2.5 speed, which is really, really high for most people, but it works really well for me. And if I like the narrator enough, they're doing a good enough job, I can normally stick to that. If not, I've never gotten anything below 2 in like 6 years. So I'm going to say 2 is like my baseline. 2.5 is where I like to be, but 2 is as low as I can go. Other ones I do is such as the Goodreads goal. Right now, this is how many books I've read this year and my goal for the year. Now, technically, the goal inside my brain is 200. So this 50 goal is just for the next, like the first 3 months of the month. The first 3 months of the year. For instance, my goal is to hit 50 books before the end of March to end up eventually hitting 200 by the end of the year. If that doesn't happen, it's not really a big deal, but you don't want to put 200 books on there if you know you can't physically read those. I really think goals really help. They really keep you oriented, and they really give you, like, especially goals with deadline. I always find those really help me very much. And I'm also knowing that I'm going to be posting a March, like a wrap up. If I read 3 books in a wrap up, it doesn't make me feel as good if I read 16. It's just the truth. So those also help, but these are the big ones. Another thing I don't tend to do, I tend to more orient myself to shorter fiction, but most people that I like to watch and stuff end up picking up behemoth of novels, which is like 800 to 900 pages, and big books scare me. That's not saying I'm not going to pick up a big book, but the more I tend to pick up big books in audiobook form or on my Kindle because I can't see how big they are and it doesn't scare me so much. Another way I tend to read more is through graphic novels or different mediums of reading. Graphic novels are one of my favorite ways to consume. I can read these relatively really fast. I get a great story out of them 96% of the time. Not everything here, as you guys can see, is a great story that I read this month so far, but I do tend to get them. Another way is through poetry. Poetry is also something else. Those can be quite long, but they always end up being really short for reading. So I can read like a 600-page poetry book in like maybe 3 hours or so. So that's another way I read more, is by consuming poetry, which I love. Basically, a big thing you can see here is that I consume reading through entertainment. I don't read things I know I'm not going to enjoy unless it's for a purpose. I don't mind DNFing, find it to be bad anymore. There was a certain point in my life where I did, but now I don't care if I don't like it. I'm not going to finish it. Like I said, that is not always the case, as I do think a lot of nonfiction is very important, and I do like to pick those up based on recommendations. I normally only read nonfiction based on recommendations unless I'm trying to study something particular. Like if it's another writing book, I tend to read those, but if it's like something very specific based on an event and time or whatever, I tend to read those based on recommendation. But also, I also stay away from genres I know that I don't really enjoy that will take longer to read. I always know a sci-fi book is going to take me 8 days to read compared to a romance, which will take me 3 days. And inside my brain, I'm thinking, that's 8 days of reading, I can't read anything else. I also, at one point in my life, we're going to see this month is the case, I can listen to an audiobook, read a physical book, and read a Kindle book without any problem. I don't know if I'm there anymore. I was there. I don't know if I am anymore. I think I could probably listen to an audiobook and read an ebook / Kindle book, but now my brain is much more oriented into the simple fashion of you have to finish book before you can pick up the other book. But guys, those are some of the ways I read more and read faster. If you guys have any other tips or tricks, leave them down below. Not that any of these are specifically tips or tricks. These are just ways that I read faster. Maybe I do want to mention, one of the things I think it's always recommended is to set a scheduled time, and I don't have one of those. So I could probably even be reading more. The only times I tend to have scheduled times to read is when I'm on a priority deadline, which is simply when I have a challenge I'm doing, like reading 34 books a month. This month, I'm going to try to prioritize reading over most things. It's normally not the case, and I still can get to 15, 16 books, so I don't think I'm doing that bad. Okay, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave your thumbs up. Don't forget to comment down below, hit subscribe, and I'll see you all next time for another beautiful, lovely video. Thank you for watching.